Want to know why? Ask how. Howard the Humongous. 129 people killed in Paris in attacks in 6 different locations, pulled off by 3 ISIS teams. Only 8 men and 129 people killed, and of the wounded, we don't know who is going to survive and who is not. Was this an Islamic act, or was this a perversion of Islam? One source of evidence is the statement that ISIS put out claiming credit for the attack. And to give you a feeling of how chilling and bizarre this document is, the document that justifies beheading people in the streets, because Mohammed beheaded people in the streets. How chilling it is, I'm going to read it to you, even though I prefer to make eye contact with you via the camera. So bear with me. We're going to read. These are ISIS' own words about what it did in Paris. It's datelined, the Islamic State of France. It's called an urgent statement about the blessed Paris invasion on the French Crusaders. Yes, blessed Paris invasion on the French Crusaders. And here we go. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. And then it gives a long quote from the Quran. Yes, the central document of Islam. The quote begins, "The Almighty said, and they thought that their fortresses would defend them from Allah. But Allah's torment reached them from a place whereof they expected it not. And he cast terror into their hearts, so that they destroy their own dwellings with their own hands, and the hands of the believers. Then take admonition, take warning, O you with eyes to see." This is from the 5th chapter of the Quran. It's what leads off ISIS' claim of credit for the French atrocities. Here's the rest of the document. In a blessed attack, for which Allah facilitated the causes for success, a faithful group of the soldiers of the Caliphate, may Allah dignify it and make it victorious, launched out, targeting the capital of prostitution and obscenity. Yes, they're talking about Paris, the capital of prostitution and obscenity. The carrier of the banner of the cross in Europe. Paris's sin, in part, is that it believes in Christianity, the wrong religion, a cursed religion, according to militant Islam. This attack was made by youths who divorced the world and went to their enemy seeking to be killed in the cause of Allah, in support of his religion and his prophet. Does this sound anti-Islamic to you? Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, and his charges, and to put the nose of his enemies in the ground, to utterly humiliate them. So they were honest with Allah. We consider them thusly, and Allah conquered through their hands, and cast in the hearts of the Crusaders horror in the middle of their land, where 8 brothers wrapped in explosive belts and armed with machine rifles targeted sites that were accurately chosen in the heart of the capital of France, including the Stade de France, the Stadium of France, during the match between the Crusader German and French teams, where the Fool of France, yes, they said the Fool of France, François Hollande, was present. They also targeted the Bataclan Conference Center, where hundreds of apostates had gathered in a profligate prostitution party, and other areas in the 10th and 11th and 18th arrondissement, and in a coordinated fashion. So Paris shook under their feet, and its streets were tight upon them, and the result of the attacks was the death of no less than 100 crusaders, and the wounding of more than those. And how should we feel about this? And unto Allah is all praise and gratitude. We're not finished. Allah had granted our brothers their wish and gave them what they loved, for they detonated their belts in the gatherings of the disbelievers after running out of ammunition. We ask Allah to accept them among the martyrs and to make us follow them on the instant path into paradise by killing non-believers. Back to the text. Let France and those who walk in its path know that they will remain on top of the list of targets of the Islamic State, and that the smell of death will never leave their noses as long as they lead the convoy of the Crusader campaign and dare to curse our prophet. Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. And we are proud of fighting, and they are proud of fighting Islam in France and striking the Muslims in the land of the Caliphate with their planes, which did not help them at all in the streets of Paris and its rotten alleys. This attack is the first of the storm, and a warning to those who wish to learn. Is this anti-Islamic? It starts out by quoting the Quran. In 622 AD, Muhammad invented jihad. In 627 and 628 AD, Muhammad attacked 2 Jewish villages. In one village, he exterminated every male with pubic hair. He took them to the marketplace of Medina, sat there all afternoon, and had his men saw off their heads. That's Islam. That's militant Islam. He attacked another village, killed all of the leaders, took all of the wives by rape, all of the wives of the leaders of the Jewish village, and took all of their goods and turned them into servants, into slaves, into farmers who had to part with half of their goods. Why did he do monstrous things? Why did he have somebody light a fire with fire-making instruments on the chest of the leader of one of these Jewish villages that he attacked, to torture the man in order to get the word out of him about where the town's fortune, where its treasures lay? Why was Muhammad merciless? Why did he enjoy the word terror? Why did he use it over and over again? Because the more he terrified people, like you and me, the more he could get others to submit peacefully, to surrender. And in fact, in 629 AD, after these 2 war crimes against Jews designed to terrify, Mecca, Muhammad's ultimate target, gave up without a fight. That's why Muhammad used terror. And in 628 AD, he did something else. God laid out the scroll of the earth to him and gave all of it to him, all that is to the west and all that is to the east. Muhammad mapped out world conquest in 628 AD. What's the bottom line? Today's Muslims are following in Muhammad's footsteps. Remember, Muhammad conquered approximately 315 square miles of territory a day. He led 65 military campaigns. He commanded 65 military campaigns. He personally led 27 of them. Within 150 years of his death, Islam had acquired the biggest empire in the history of the world, the greatest act of imperialism ever in history, dwarfing the Victorian Empire of the Brits, of the English. That empire was 13,500 miles across. Karen Elkind, who bills herself as the world's leading scholar on imperialism, she's from Harvard, says no empire in the world has ever been able to conquer the hearts and minds of the people over whom it lorded things. She is wrong. These Islamic territories all the way from Algeria to Malaysia, 13,500 miles, a territory 11 times the size of the conquests of Alexander the Great, 5 times the size of the Roman Empire, and 7 times the size of the United States. All of these people still believe profoundly in Islam. Islam has won their hearts and minds. Islam is the most powerful imperial movement, imperialist and colonialist movement in the history of the world. And it's out to achieve, to once again demonstrate that it can take all of this world. Why? Because this world was made by Allah from a clot of dirt. You were made by Allah by a clot of blood. If Allah made you, if Allah made me, if Allah made this earth, then surely all of the earth and all of its people belong to Allah. Surely all of them should live lives according to the laws that Allah himself dictated, the laws of Sharia. That's what ISIS believes. That's what Osama bin Laden, their spiritual father, believed. And that, in fact, is what the Ayatollah Khomeini, the man who gave us modern revolutionary Iran. That's what he believed. So don't believe these are tiny local events. Right now, the Twitter accounts for ISIS are threatening Washington and London. Don't believe these are isolated events. These are part of a war that has been going on for almost 1,400 years between Islam and the West. Are they accurately Islamic? Yes, they are profoundly accurate. The difficulty is, none of the Muslims I know believe in that interpretation of Islam, bless their souls. All of them believe in a version of Islam that is modernist, pluralist, and tolerant. And I hope my modernist, pluralist, tolerant Muslim friends win brilliantly over these savage monsters of militant Islam. This is Howard the Humongous, speaking to you from the future. It's your job and my job to make, in part by understanding the heart and thought of those who declare themselves our enemies. Whoops, now to find that sleazy, sneaky, slimy little off button, but I'm getting better at this. Look.